Hello everybody and welcome to my channel Balloons in Business, where I show you the business of balloon and event decor. Today I'm going to show you how I made this indoor balloon garland step by step, and I'm also going to show you how I hung it on the wall. So if you want to see how I did this, just stay tuned. Now I'm going to start out by blowing up 2 balloons at a time, and then I'm going to press them down against the table, releasing air from the bottom and rounding them out. And then I'm going to tie them together into a dupe. Now the brands I'm going to be using is Sempertex Satin Pearl in 5-inch, 11-inch, and 24-inch, Tuftex Empowerment in 5-inch and 11-inch, Calisan Mirror Chrome Green in 5-inch and 18-inch, and Sempertex Reflex Gold in 5-inch and 12-inch. So once I tie my balloons together into dupes, I'm going to take 2 dupes of the same color and I'm going to double twist them together into a quad of balloons. You want to make sure when you're twisting your dupes together into quads that you double twist them so that they will not come out of the quad. So once I twist my balloons together into quads, I'm going to take one neck from one balloon in one quad. And then I'm going to take a neck from another balloon in another quad, and I'm going to tie these necks together. And this is how I'm going to be connecting the quads of my balloons together. Now, tying balloon necks together can be tricky at first, but if you leave yourself enough slack when you're initially tying your balloons together into dupes, then this should make the process a whole lot easier. Now I want to make sure that these 2 quads are laying on top of each other nice and flat. So I'm just rearranging the balloons so that the top quad is laying nice and flat on top of the quad directly below it, with the balloons in between each other. Now I'm going to take another quad and I'm going to lay it down flat on the quad directly below it. And then I'm going to take one neck from a balloon in the top quad, a neck from the balloon in the quad directly below it, and I'm going to tie the necks together. And that's how I'm connecting my quads to make the base of this balloon garland base, just tying the necks of the balloons together. Now I used 8 quads of the empowerment balloons, which is a total of 32 balloons, 4 quads of the satin pearl balloons, which is a total of 16 balloons, and 4 quads of the marigold balloons, which is a total of 16 balloons. But as you can see, I divided the marigold balloons into 2 quads each on each side of the satin pearl balloons. So now to hang up this balloon garland, I'm going to take these suction hooks that I got from Walmart and some painter's tape, and I'm going to take 4 strips of the painter's tape and make sort of like a square on top of the suction hook. Now you want to make sure that you use painter's tape and not duct tape or Gorilla Glue tape for inside walls, because the duct tape is strong enough to take the paint off of your walls and damage your walls. The painter tape, this is the type of tape you use when you're painting your walls, so it's made specifically for inside walls and not taking the paint off of the wall. So now you want to take the suction hook and lay it flat onto the wall and then just rub the painter's tape onto the wall. And this is how it looks. Now I'm going to take a 260 balloon, which is the type of balloons that you make balloon animals out of, and I'm going to tie one end onto the hook part. Then I'm going to take my balloon garland and position it where I want over the hook, and I'm going to take the other end of the 260 balloon. I'm going to wrap it around the balloon garland, and then I'm going to take the other end of that 260 and tie it back onto that hook, onto the suction hook. And make sure you double tie it so it won't come off of that hook, because the 260 balloon can slide off. So I'm going to be adding 2 more of these suction hooks to connect this balloon garland, one towards the bottom and one towards the very top, and I'm going to connect it in the same way, just wrapping that 260 around the balloon garland and tying the other end back onto the hook. And this is how it looks up close with both ends tied onto the hook. So now I'm going to be adding the mirror chrome green balloons by tying the neck of that chrome green balloon to a neck in the balloon inside of the balloon garland base. And I'm trying to make sure it's nice and nestled in there. I will eventually reposition that green balloon at the bottom to match the one at the top where it's kind of facing the front and not the side. I decided to use a 160 balloon, double tying it to the neck of that satin pearl balloon to add it into the balloon garland, because satin pearl balloons, their necks are a little bit tougher. So it's harder to tie into each other. That's why you gotta leave a lot of slack with those satin pearl balloons when you're tying them together into dupes if you want to tie the necks together. So again, I'm having that face the front because I had the other balloons facing the front, so I'm kind of trying to match it. So now I'm just kind of rearranging the balloons a little bit to give it a little bit more shape, because the balloon garland was like going straight up. There was no curve to it. So I'm just arranging the balloons to give them a little bit more curve. And I'm going to add a couple more dupes of the satin pearl, since that is the only section of satin pearl balloons that I have. So I'm just twisting in dupes into the balloon garland. I twisted it around that big balloon, and then this other satin pearl dupe, I'm going to be adding it with a 260 balloon, because again, those necks are tough, so sometimes it's hard to tie those into the balloon garland. So I used a 260 balloon to help me out with the satin pearl. So I'm just thickening up that satin pearl section, since it's the only satin pearl section in the garland. Now I'm using the necks of the balloons to attach these mirror gold dupes on each side, because I wanted to add just a little bit more gold. So for those of you who are counting, I use a total of 20 mirror gold balloons, 21 satin pearl balloons, including the 124-inch one, 32 empowerment balloons, and 2 mirror chrome green balloons. Now I'm going to be adding some 5-inch decorators using a hand pump. I'm going to blow them up to about 3.5 inches and round them out. I'm going to tie them together into dupes. And then I'm going to take my dupes and I'm going to twist them together. So now when twisting in my dupes, I'm going to hold on to one balloon from the last dupe I just twisted in, and then twist the new dupe in, as you can see. So I'm holding on to that balloon right there from the last dupe I twisted in, and I'm going to twist the new dupe in over that one. And I'm going to keep doing that. Now I used about 7 dupes in this little cluster here, and I like to call these small pearl clusters. And I'm going to attach a half of a 260 balloon on each side of that small pearl cluster. And that's how I'm going to be adding these clusters to the balloon garland. I'm going to take one half of that 260 balloon, wrap it around one balloon in the balloon garland, and tie the 260 into itself. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other end of that 260 balloon. Now you want to make sure that your clusters are looking like they're embedded into the balloon garland. So just rearrange them around. You might need to take some of the bigger balloons out of the balloon garland to make sure it looks like it's embedded in there, just like I did with the satin pearl there. Now for the empowerment and the mirror green clusters, I actually twisted them together to make them look like they were running into each other. And if you want to elongate these pearl clusters, you just take your dupes of 5-inch balloons and you just twist them into the existing pearl cluster. Make sure you double twist them in there so they don't pop out. And that's how you elongate those pearl clusters. So here is the finished product. So in total, I twisted 8 dupes of 5-inch balloons for the empowerment and the mirror green pearl clusters. I twisted 7 dupes for the mirror gold pearl clusters, and I twisted 10 dupes of the satin pearl clusters. So the grand total of balloons used for this balloon garland is about 150 balloons. So if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, Go ahead on and like it, and please subscribe, and you'll get notifications on future videos on balloon and event decor. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.